what was really happening in Alachua County right during a pandemic. And I think Ian said it best at the time. He said, and he said to all of you in one of the trainings that we can't survive without early learning. That is the one lesson we learned during the pandemic. Our economy will not survive without all of you. So, first I would like to thank Jackie Hodges. And I would like to thank Ian Fletcher. To doing this together. So we begin with our panelists, and I'm going to talk about our panelists a little bit, and then if you like, you can come up and start talking about you. So today we have Trisha Roy, Bonnie Bowman, and teacher Howard Sherman, who will be talking to us about leadership. I'm going to introduce each one. So Trisha Roy is an entrepreneur, a small business coach, and a certified mentor and a speaker. Trisha volunteers and works with SCORE, a nationwide small business mentoring organization. Trisha teaches workshops, classes on cultural proficiency, diversity, leadership, networking skills, just to name a few. She is an amazing woman. She has attended actually almost all of our sessions, 4 sessions over 4 months. And I don't even know if y'all know, she was flying in and out of the country all at the same time. And she would show up early in the morning just to be with all of us. She's a speaker and instructor for the National Association of Realtors as well as Florida Realtors, and teaches NAR's premier designation to realtors worldwide. In her background, Trisha has 2 master's degrees in business management from the USA and in ecology from India, where she was born. She has harnessed her diverse skills and a true devotion to teaching and helping others find success. In her everyday work life, when not traveling, Trisha lives in green and semi-rural Florida with her 2 teenage boys. Her pastimes are photography, writing, karate, cooking, and dancing. Like I said, she does it all. Our panelist, Bonnie Bowman, is the owner and director of Persimmon Early Learning Academy. She's been educated for 25 years. She holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education from the University of South Florida and a master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Florida. Bonnie has a national board certification and was Norton Elementary's Teacher of the Year 2009. After teaching and working as an administrator in public schools, she decided to open a small school that focuses on learning through play and instilling a lifelong love of learning in all of her students. Bonnie has also been chosen by the Children's Forum to be a policy advocate. She's one of 20, if I remember right, 20 in the state of Florida that will be learning how to do that advocacy work, and of course taking everything that she's learning and putting it back into Alachua County, as well as advocating on behalf of Alachua County. Teacher Howard Sherman is the owner-director of Patty Cake Christian Academy, a family home-based early learning business that she co-owns and operates with her husband, Gregory Sherman. She receives her associate degree in early child care education from Santa Fe Community College. Her teaching philosophy involves a hands-on learning approach in a child-centered environment. Her passion is educating young children and mentoring teenage girls, helping them to discover their defined destiny. Deetra is also an author of Getting Back to Bethel, a journey from religion to relationship, and will release her first children's book this year. Come on up, give them a hand as they come up.
Good morning, everybody. I like microphones because you can speak softly and you can be heard. And you can put it away when you don't want to be heard. So, yes, I have been watching all of you go through this class, and it's been amazing. I've emailed, interacted with some of you, and I have just watched the way y'all have kind of transformed and become more confident and more sure of your path. I'm sure you have more questions. We are at the point of graduation, which means that pretty much all of you have to find your path, which is your path as a business owner and a leader. One of the unique aspects of being a business ownership is you're the task setter, you're the goal setter, you're the one who gets up in the morning and says, hey, this is our task to do, this is my thing to do. There's nobody breathing down your neck telling you what to do. That can be a good thing at times, but if you're not a self-motivated person, there's nobody holding that stick to you. So today, my friends and I got together, we thought, we're going to talk about leadership. And how can you succeed as a leader? And as I think about it, I think our uniqueness is what is going to differentiate us as leaders. What we bring to the table, because each of us is a very unique human being. Because of the environment, the collection of experiences, education, everything that we have gone through, what we bring to the table, what we are, our challenges and our triumphs. All of this makes us who we are. And so I have thought that we would bring to the table the topic of today's leadership discussion. No one can be newer than you. It's kind of misquoted from Dr. Seuss. He has a book, Happy Birthday to You, which I gave to all of my friends. We all turned 50 last year. So I gave it to all of my friends. We all grew up together. And I think that's a great philosophy. Only you can be you, and no one can be newer than you. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce, as they have already been introduced, Bonnie and Deirdre. And can we dive right in? And then at any point, if you all have questions about something, please raise your hand and I will come to you. And then after our discussion is over, of course, you all can just bombard my panelists with whatever questions you all have. So, Deirdre, leadership in your own business. How would you position yourself as a leader in your own business?
I think when you have your own business, first of all, you can be an owner of a business and not really be in the leadership role. So to position yourself as a leader, you have to be self-motivated. You have to understand your purpose, your why. Why are you doing this? And then you have to be a go-getter. You have to be a go-getter. And sometimes being a go-getter means being a trailblazer, doing things that no one else has done, knocking on doors, doing it over and over. So that leadership, and not only do you have to do it you have to be able to lead on different levels. So one thing about being a business owner and in leadership, you don't just are able to lead just a team. You have to lead the whole company, which means you have to be flexible. You have to be able to lead each team individual and make it all come together and work to be like a well-oiled machine.
So, in a nutshell, I would say your take on leadership in your own business means that you have to be flexible.
Yes.
And you have to be leader to everybody.
Yes.
Okay. And now, Bonnie, what is your take on this question?
So I agree with everything that you just said, but one thing that I try to do in leading my school is I try to lead it the way I did a classroom when I was a teacher. So I want to create a community, I want to have clear and consistent expectations, I want us to be able to grow together. And remember that it's not all about me, this is like creating a space where people want to come to every day, that people want to be in, and making sure that I'm leading them in their own growth as well as the growth of the company as a whole.
I would agree with that. The one thought that comes to my mind is, realtors, I'm a real estate broker, and that's what I do for a living. I own a brokerage. We are given this label all the time. We are go-getters, we are hustlers, and I have never sold a single piece of property in my entire life. I don't sell. say we are go-getters, what it comes from is a deep passion within. Would you agree? It comes from a passion that does not escape you whether you are awake or you're asleep. You wake up with that same purpose, and every action you do contributes to that same passion. And that's what a go-getter is. Because you're not trying to be one, you're not trying to hunt down people. You're just, you have no escape from your own dream, your own vision. That's what I think.
I agree with that because, and I think that's what makes a leader. That is definitely the leader, is that you can't escape it. And you don't try to be a leader, you just are a leader. And just because you're in charge of a team doesn't mean you're a leader. Just because you're CEO of a company doesn't mean you're a leader. It's just in you.
So now let me ask you, Bonnie, we'll start with you. What is your leadership style? Is it participative? Is it commandarial? Is it managerial? Is it empowering? What do you believe is in your leadership style?
So I think at some point you have to be all of those things, right? You can't just sit back and not give people direction if they're not doing what they need to do. But you also want to participate. You know, I'm in there, I'm changing diapers, I'm trapping raccoons and relocating them. I had to do that last year. So I now have raccoon trapper on my resume. I'm trimming branches and, you know, picking up garbage and cleaning, but also I'm somebody that people can come to. I'm being a mentor, I'm being supportive, I'm giving my teachers room to grow. And so trying to be all of those things in one when it's appropriate.
And at times you have to bring that hammer down hard.
Sometimes you do.
Deirdre, let me hear your take on your leadership style.
I agree with Bonnie. You have to encompass all of those different roles at different times. I guess, but truly, I think what shines for me is being a participator in my role, which means I'm in there, like Bonnie said, you're doing everything that needs to be done. You don't ask your employees or your talents to do anything that you would not do. So you're in there, you're working, and then also you have to switch the hats sometimes. Like you say, sometimes you have to bring the hammer down, you have to make the hard decision, and you have to hold the responsibility of that. So I think you lead by example, getting in the trenches, and remembering that we're in this together. We're doing this together.
So I agree with that. I agree with both of you. All of the above. That's a great answer, Bonnie, because depending on the situation, we have to do, and we are called upon to do a lot. I will remember that you're a raccoon trapper, and all of you, please note it down. If you have a raccoon on your premises that you need relocated, at times, I will tell you, animal control will not touch it. If they don't know, they will not come for venomous snakes, and here I am, a venomous snake person. I will, when I relocated a cottonmouth and a copperhead one time, the thing is, my ex-husband, I was married to him at the time, he said, when God was handing out the fear center in the brain, you didn't stand in line. So I love snakes. So that may make me sound odd or weird, but I like snakes. I was raised and coached by one of the world's snake experts back in India, where I was born. He holds the world record, whether it's important or not, for having spent 96 hours with 100 cobras in a row, and he lived. So. Yeah, so that's who taught me how to handle snakes. So, snake handler. Hey, you gotta do what makes you happy. So, goal and tasks. As I talked about, you have to set your own goals. As nobody's gonna tell you, hey, this is what your goals are. You choose to go back to sleep or just basically go to get your nails done, which I often do. There's nobody to tell you not to do that. That's a great thing to have. But how would you set your goals for yourself and your team or employees?
I think that goes back to your vision, and your goals should support your vision that you have for your company or your daycare facility. But then also, goal setting is something that should be team oriented. So not only am I setting goals for what I want for my company, I encourage then short-term goals. I think we should have goals. Every day you should wake up with at least one goal that you want to meet for that day. Whether it is meeting the needs of a family, doing something different, opening different doors for someone, whatever that goal is. So we have our immediate goals, and then we have the 6-month goals. I think you just have to, you can't be successful. I guess what I'm saying is you can't be successful without setting those goals and then striving for them. And so, like I said, I don't only set them for patty cake, but I set them for my husband and my employees that work for us.
So thank you very much, and I like how you tied that to your vision, because your goals, yes, indeed, should be tied to your mission and your vision of your business. Bonnie.
So I got a million ideas every day. My brain is going. I'm like, I want to do that, I want to do that, I want to do that. And I really have to rein myself in. My poor partner is like, please stop telling me everything that you want to do. Because he can't handle it. He feels like he's going to be spending every weekend building out something for the school or contributing. So I have to really sit down and take my time and write down my goals, and then I have to look at them. I have to do SMART goals, like we learned in BLI, and think what's achievable, how can I measure this, how can I make sure that I can get this done. So I set goals every day, I set goals for the day, I set goals for the week, I set goals for the month, I set goals for the year, I set goals for 10 years, and I try not to push that too much on my employees, but I do meet with them. We have regular staff meetings and talk about what our goals are as a team, not just what my goals for the school are, but what theirs are too, what they see the school doing for our families, for the community, for them, what they can get out of doing things like the Teach Scholarship and, setting their own goals and how I can support those. So I think just communicating a lot, making sure I'm sitting down and not getting too crazy with it, and making sure that there's something achievable, because I can set really lofty goals for myself and then be disappointed that I didn't reach them. So it is something that, for myself, I have to really rein in and take the time to really plan out to make sure that I'm not getting too crazy.
So your take would be goals should be achievable,
Yes.
and goals should be supported, versus just having goals which are lofty and not being able to get to them. You remind me of one of my mentees. He came to me and he said, Trisha, I have 188 business ideas. I'm like, 188? That's pretty specific. And I said, Christian, you can only do one. If that disappoints you, I'll let you digest it. You can only do one. And once you've done that, you pick one. And you've done that, and you've done that very well. We can go to the second one on your list. So go through your 188 and tell me one. So one at a time, and it's funny, business is creative. It's a creative process. Business people are creative individuals, and those ideas do bombard your mind. And at times it is really a challenge to kind of basically put those blinders that you can set only one goal, you can see only one goal, because the rest of it is just basically taking you away from that one goal that you should be sharpening yourself towards. And so you have to put the blinders on so that you decide on your goal and you work towards that, even though as a creative person, a million others may be coming your way, may be coming at you from every direction. So sharpening that vision, sharpening that purpose is important every day. And when your employees and you are doing what you're doing and you're setting goals and you're achieving them, what does appreciation look like in your book?
So I like to show my staff appreciation in lots of ways. I like to give them autonomy to make their own choices in their classroom, how they're delivering their curriculum. I've given them a budget, which has been something that has made them feel, I think, extremely appreciated, because they feel trusted and to spend the business's money, the school's money, on things that they feel are important for their classroom. So I try to do those kinds of things, but then also I want to give them some health care. I give them paid days off. I try to pay them a competitive wage.
do a lot of events, empowering, and I think that goes back to your thoughts about empowerment when you are giving a budget to your employee, giving them both a buy-in into the school's business purpose and the vision, as well as the empowerment that they get to make those decisions and they are learning to be leaders in their own rights. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. Deirdre.
For me, I guess it's on a different scale because I am a family home provider. It's only 3 of us as employees, but it's just listening. So our appreciation is basically shown to our families, to show them that we appreciate them for trusting us with their children. But also it's listening to those talents who work around me and for me and helping them meet their needs. The appreciation looks different depending on the person and what they need. But constantly telling them, thank you, I appreciate what you're doing, I'm glad you're here. And then following that up by listening to them, because you're conversating with people constantly. Your employees, your talents are coming to you. So we're listening and you're connecting to them. So what looks like for appreciation for Gregory would be different for what it is for Russell, So it's just listening and finding out what do they need in their life at that current time to feel that they are valued. Because the whole point of appreciation is that I want you to feel valued. I want you to know you're important to us and that I appreciate you. I'm glad that God placed you in my life. So it's just helping them meet the whatever it is they need, to make them feel special, to let them know that. For some, you may need a massage. So I'm on a smaller scale, so I can do stuff like that. It may be that, hey, why don't you take the weekend, take your family to Blue Greens for a weekend, where you want to go to the beach or Daytona, like what do you need to reconnect with your family to let you know, hey, I hear you, I see you, I appreciate you. And that goes for our families. Those are some things that we can do for the couples that are having marital problems. Hey, you guys need a weekend, go watch the kids, So it's, in order to show appreciation, you got to hear the people around you to know what they need to feel appreciated.
And that's a very different, I like those thoughts that, you're expanding your appreciation bubble to your families who are entrusting their children to you. And you're seeking ways to appreciate them as well as your employees. Listening to their needs, because everybody's needs, everybody's connection with appreciation or what makes them feel appreciated is different. For instance, if I'm on a diet and you give me a chocolate, that's not going to go down well. Or it may go down well, but my trainer will not like it. Let's just put it this way. So y'all can still give me chocolates. But the point is, I think I like the fact that you are listening to your employees. You're listening to individual needs and having conversations on a deeper level, finding out about their lives, their challenges, behind what they are showing up at work. And that will go a long way, because when you take the time to listen to your employees, when they become a person to you and not a number, that's when they know you are vested in them as much as they are vested in you. They are depending on you for their paycheck, for their livelihood. But the fact that you care right back for them, that will go a long way to building loyalty and appreciation back to you. And one thing that leaders have to have all the time is motivation. We have to be motivated. We have to have purpose. So let me ask you, Deirdre, what is your motivation? How do you define your why? Where do you find your motivation? As a business owner, you are your own motivator on most days. Do you rise up on some days and think, I just want to go back to bed?
Oh, yes. We have plenty of those days, but the motivation is knowing that there are little ones that depend on what we do for success. And like my story is different. My motivation comes from my why, which is I understand the importance of what we do. I've experienced it firsthand. Our first son was able to be in a thriving environment, early learning environment, did very well. My daughter, however, financial things changed, was way to get in that high quality, thriving environment to feed into her. And so I saw the difference in their growth that it made for them long term. So my motivation is I don't want another child to miss out on these important, essential years. So my motivation is I am going to create an environment where families can come and the young ones can get what they need. I can pour into. That is my motivation, because I know what I'm doing now, what we're doing, is setting the foundation of who they're going to be. It's creating their minds for expanding learning. So that is my motivation. That's what gets me up, even when I don't feel like it. I know that there's someone out there, some little ones are depending on me. And lately, we've been doing this for 16 years. So now we have graduates children that came through our school, our home, and they're graduating high school, they're driving, and they still come back. They still talk about Auntie Dietrich, that's what they call us, Auntie Dietrich, Uncle Greg. And so that has motivated me even more, because I see the importance of it and how they're thriving, how they're excelling, and how they're doing. And I'm like, God, thank you. You gave us an opportunity to create an environment for them to be successful human beings. And that's my motivation. That's my, sorry.
Was it just me, or did her voice become more powerful, more strident as she was talking about her motivation? And the purpose of this panel is that all of you find your identity in our panelists, your why through hearing this, and that's I found it remarkable how your voice changed, and you were able to communicate your motivation, your why very clearly. So Bonnie, let me hear your why.
So, I've worked in public schools for a long time, and when I got into administration, my eyes were wide open. I was teacher of the year, I was a great classroom teacher, I worked really hard. I went to all these meetings, and quite honestly, they tell you, you're gonna go back to your classroom and you're gonna do this, and I would say, okay, sure, and then I would close my door, and I did what was best for kids. And didn't follow all of the things that they were, all this legislation and all these things they were saying we needed to do. And my kids excelled. I had high achieving kids. I got the star money every year. I got all the bonuses. I did everything, and I was not following their directions. So when I got into administration, I thought everybody was doing what I was doing, but they weren't, and it was really eye-opening. And I started realizing that the system, I'm sorry, Jackie. I started realizing that the system doesn't always do what's best for children. And so it really motivated me to get out of it. I thought I've given a lot of my life to this public school system, and being in administration for 3 years, I really tried to enact some change from inside, and I wasn't successful. I wasn't happy with working in that system anymore. So I was motivated to open a school and do what I felt was best for children developmentally. And I found a lot of like-minded people who wanted to work with me, a lot of families who entrusted me with that, and we've been really successful. A new motivation that I really had since the pandemic was my employees, because we closed for 10 weeks, and I just thought, these people need to pay their bills, they need to feed their kids, and we're closed. I have to figure out a way to pay them. And so that was a new motivation. It was really difficult. But we did it. I was able to pay everybody for 10 weeks, even though we were closed. We made it through. Then PPP money came later, and we did it, and it worked, and everybody came back to work, and it's been really great. But those are the two things. First and foremost, the kids, making sure that they have a great quality place to come, but also my staff, so that they have a wonderful place to come work and they feel supported every day.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I teach grown-ups, I teach adults. When I was very young, I learned I'm not good at teaching kids. My brother would last about 5 minutes with me, and I would give him 2 slaps and I say, you amount to nothing good. I just don't have it. I think all of you who have the background are saints. When my son was, my younger one was in third grade, we had one of the school shootings. And I will never, ever forget the email Ms. Crawford from Archer Elementary sent to us. She said, I want to assure you that if there is a gun aimed at your children, I will stand before them. It still brings me with 2 tears. I will stand before them and they will have to kill me before they can get to your children. And the fact that she sent it in an email, and she was just a wonderful lady, and I think any teacher would do that. But the fact that she articulated it and sent it in an email to all of us, parents were worried, sick about children being in schools at that time. Schools are so vulnerable, so open to anything coming in and attacking. It made us feel so appreciative of every teacher. And I have this deep appreciation for any of you who take on early learning. I have 2 grown children, and I'm glad, they're grown up now. I could manage those 2 because that's all I could, God gave me to, manage when they're little. I'm not good at teaching little kids. I'm good at motivating adults. I find that that's my sweet spot. I'm good at motivating older grown-ups. And who are wired for most of the time a little bit differently than children. So that's my take on motivation. I'm so appreciative of every teacher who has taken that job on. Your brand as a leader, to sum up our discussion, I would kind of ask both of you this, what is your brand as a leader? How do you define your own brand as a leader? So what is you? What is your you? Or what is your authenticity in leadership? How would you define that?
This question is really difficult for me to answer. I feel like I've been building my brand as a school, as a person, and I've tried to be extremely intentional on the experience that I provide for families. So I want you to walk up, and it starts from the minute you get into the parking lot. I think when Robin came to my school, she really helped me see this and opened my eyes to thinking a little bit more about my brand because it feels really uncomfortable for me. So I want you to walk up and see. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Persimmon, but we have this little pathway. We have an expansive front lawn and a big giant patio that you walk up to. And so when I was looking for a building to put my school in, I didn't want something that felt institutional. I didn't want something that looked like a school. I wanted something really different. And I was driving home one day. The year before I opened my school, I went back into the classroom for a year and taught kindergarten, and also was working on opening Persimmon. And so I was driving home from work one day and I saw this building with a for rent sign on the side of it, and I pulled over and called the lady, and it's the Bailey House in Gainesville. If you're not familiar with the Bailey House, it's the oldest house in the city limits of Gainesville. It was built in 1854. It does not look anything like a school. And I walked in, and it had been an assisted living facility. It was full of medical gear and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, this is my school. This is it. So I think that I just knew it would be a feeling. So for my brand, I think I've been very intentional building something that feels very supportive and educational, but doesn't look like a school. If that makes sense? Where you feel like when you're dropping your child off, you're dropping them off at Empty's house, and but you know that they're going to get the education, the quality education that you want for them, and that they will be supported and loved while they're there. So I think that as a leader, my brand has been making sure that I myself am there, being supportive, but also making it the feeling and the vibe around everything feels the way that I feel about the kids. It feels safe and comfortable and welcoming.
So, would you say your brand is about not making it seem like a school, and yet providing a safe, supportive environment for your children?
Yes.
Oh,
Sure.
mean,
Yes, I agree. It doesn't look like a school. I mean, when you walk in, you get the elements of a classroom, but you're not walking in and feeling like this is a traditional house of learning.
but I think my question was geared towards you as a leader. What is your brand as a leader? Like, maybe that's a very difficult answer to quantify or define. But what is your brand as a leader? And it kind of relates back to the first question I asked, how do you position yourself as a leader? It kind of culminates into the very authentic you that you bring to your business and your team and your students and your whole school.
I was sidestepping that question and you totally caught me. I'm extremely uncomfortable talking about myself in that capacity. And so maybe that tells you a little bit about my privilege as a leader. But I do feel like, for me, I'm a caretaker, right? So my brand is making sure that everyone's taken care of, that it's a safe, comfortable place for everybody. Would you accept that?
Yeah, I accept that. The point is to take you to an uncomfortable place, and you didn't shy away, you didn't run away screaming, and you're telling me you're a nurturer. That's your personality. By nature, you're a nurturer, and that's where you're coming from. That's great. And we discovered it together, and there were no, hard feelings or anything. So thank you so much for going into that journey with me. And Deirdre, I hope I'm not making you comfortable.
I think my brand as a leader is just motivational, community motivational. That's my whole thing. And for me, I didn't really think of I didn't create a brand. It kind of just developed from what we were doing. And so it is built around building our community, empowerment. That's basically the word, empowering those families that are connected to us as individuals, as a whole. My husband and I, our staff, empowerment. That would be the brand, is empowering them to know that you can achieve, you can make it. Because our community is set in a poverty, low-income area. So the whole thing is empowering those young minds and those families to know that you don't have to settle. We can get beyond this. There are doors open. There's opportunities out there that you haven't even dreamed of. So that's the brand that was created. It's just motivating, empowerment, empowering those who are connected to us. And what I found out by doing that is our brand goes in rooms that we never went into. People are talking about patty cake and what we do and how we change lives. And it's one thing when you go to an elementary school and they're like, oh, you're a patty cake, such and such, So that motivation and that empowerment goes a long way as a leader, because by empowering and motivating others, they become the mouthpiece for patty cake. They go out and spread the word. So I would say empowerment.
So two very different brands, I would say. Would you all agree with me? But yet, they are both leaders in their own business. And my take on this is, be you. Be authentically you. Not everyone will like you, but somebody will. At the end of the day, you can only be you, because trying to be anybody else is very, very trying and tiring. Be you, be most transparently you, dare to be you, and bring that you to your business. Be authentic to your business, be authentic to your purpose, and you will shine every day. If you have any questions of my panelists, please raise your hand and you can ask. Yes, ma'am.
What's your future plans?
Her question was Bonnie's future plans.
So, Persimmon has an elementary school attached to it, and so this year we added these goals for the elementary side. And then personally, I'm doing this Policy Works Institute, which I've discovered that I really love policy. That's studying I really love policy, but I've discovered that I really love that. I'm doing Leadership Gainesville with the chamber this year, and so I think learning a little bit more about myself and what more I can do to serve the community. I'm coming out of this fog of building a business and opening a school and spending the last 8 years doing that, and trying to come outside of that now and get more involved in the community of Gainesville as a whole. So taking the elementary school to 5th grade, and then who knows after that.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And this is from a woman who closed the door and did things differently after a meeting. She likes policy now. Guess what?
I like policy.
Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Not a question, but a statement. And so I'm a retired Gainesville Police Department. I retired 2 months ago. Some of my background is I'm a former hostage negotiator, intervention specialist, school resource officer, gang investigator. And one of the things that I can tell you guys from my 25 years experience, and Chief Jones and I, very good friends, current Chief Lonnie Scott and I are friends, we've discussed for years the correlation between education and crime. And I had this conversation with Chief Jones, I want to say 17 years ago. And he asked me, he said, "Down with me, where should we be right now to prevent crime?" I said, "We need to be in 3rd grade." He said, "Why do you say 3rd grade?" Because that's the crossroads of kids who are being held back and kids who are moving forward. He went to an FBI meeting, came back 2 weeks later and said, "You were accurate." He said, "I don't know how you knew it, but you were accurate because at the time they were building jails based on the 3rd grade academy." Yes, ma'am. So you guys are a cornerstone to work with the community, to build a safer community, to build a better community. Education has a direct relationship to crime that takes place in the community. And as you prepare the children with a better education, you're creating a better community for the children. You're creating a better community within the schools. I just retired from Williams Elementary when I retired. And the kids who come in who are prepared to learn are the kids who are more successful.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And with that note, all of you, what your purpose is something which helps the whole community. Anybody else with a question?
One more thing if you don't mind.
Yes.
You mentioned school shooters. And what I would say to you guys, for every one of you who have childcare or daycare, we will come to your school, well, not anymore, not me, but others that will come to your school, and we'll teach you how to do lockdown drills for free.
I'm sorry, teach what?
Lockdown drills.
Oh, lockdowns.
We follow a model. One is called Alice, Alert, Lockdown, Count, Inform, Evacuate. And the other one is called I Love You Guys. And we do this for free. So if any daycare wants that training, we'll come and do that training for free.
So I think our community has a lot of resources that a lot of us do not know about. Self-defense resources. I know there are self-defense resources and safety training classes that anybody can do. It is both empowering as well as useful, just in case you have to. I'm a brown belt in karate, and I have been a martial artist for 9 years. I stop at 5 foot nothing in my stockings, but I know I can hit hard if I have to. I don't mind, but I can hit hard if I have to. So, with that, thank you all for joining us, and I would like to say congratulations from the bottom of my heart, and bring your purpose to the community, bring yourself to the community, and succeed. Succeed.
Director of Program Operations. known for the work she has done with empowering the owners and directors of early learning centers. She's known for the committees that she has led and awarded millions in scholarships to graduating high school seniors. And most recently, she was recognized in the Florida Family Child Care Home Association 2020 Advocate Hall of Fame. And so, Robin, come on up. We will
Wow, everybody, you did it. Can we give you all a round of applause? It's so great to see you all here today, and I just want to first of all start, I have a little cheat sheet here because there's so many people, but I really want to give a big round of applause to Mia. Mia, can you come up here? We came with an idea, and Mia really shaped the idea, and not only did she shape it from above the line, the high level, she shaped it from an execution level. So Mia, thank you very much. And I want to really give a big round of applause to the wind beneath my wings, Katie Owens. And said, don't worry, Robin. I said, okay, good. Please don't call me. I'm coming up. And I think she did a great job. So, of course, I want to thank the CTAC for having the confidence and the vision to say we're going to take a chance and we're going to do this. And Christy, Belita, Dan is so terrific. I'm telling you, what a great publicist. And the rest of the CTAC staff that really worked so hard to put this all together. Jackie Hodge, Jackie, I want to thank you so much for the ELC, really for just jumping on board, having the initial meeting that we had to have that conversation, and also coming in to help fund the Accreditation Academy. Those of you in the Accreditation Academy, you want to stand up? Bonnie? Right? All right, let's get I want to introduce, we have, I believe, 6, but I want to introduce Stephanie Riley from FACM, their coach, their accreditation specialist. Who's really going to get you through this rigorous process. Trisha, thank you so much. And I want you to know that Trisha read all of your business plans, by the way. So she knows a lot more about you than you know about yourself. Maggie, thank you so much again. Please tell the board how much we really appreciate their support, and we're really excited about the coming year and about this Accreditation Academy and about bringing in those dollars that are already sitting in the state coffers into your community through accreditation. I want to really thank my very dear friend. I'm calling him my friend, all right, because I'm going to pull the trigger on that one day. Ian, can you stand up again? And really has given us the opportunity to broaden our horizons in the business community. And I'm hoping that all of you, Russell is going to be the key guy here for the chamber, and that he's going to get all you guys together to really start to participate in the chamber and broaden your horizons. So that's going to be really exciting. I want to introduce the secret sauce of the BLI are our mentors. And our mentors, of course, are the peers, and many of you, some of you in here are going to be mentors next year and carry this forward. They're the ones who really make the difference in the room. So I want to introduce, first of all,